Fred takes his multivitamin every morning, expecting vitality. But he's tired, legs cramping, mind foggy. Is it age? Or are those vitamins silently harming you? The CDC found that 47% of seniors are overdosing on at least one nutrient without even realizing it. What if I told you the very vitamins meant to protect you could be quietly draining your strength, confusing your nerves, and stiffening your arteries? I'm Dr. Kenji, and today on the Longevity Tales, we'll uncover the truth behind one of the biggest mistakes I see in seniors: taking vitamins the wrong way. Fred's story could be yours, or someone you love. This isn't just about fatigue, it's about missing the joy of walking your grandkids to school or skipping your favorite dance class because your legs say no. Let's begin, not with fear, but with clarity and the chance to take your health back into your hands, one truth at a time. Here's the truth few ever say out loud. Vitamins are not cures, they are not shields or shortcuts. They are tools, useful only when used wisely. But after 55, the body changes. Digestion slows, absorption weakens, and imbalances become easier to trigger than to correct. The sad irony is this: so many seniors are faithful to their supplement routines, yet feel more tired, more forgetful, more inflamed. Why? Because even with the best intentions, we take them wrong dose, wrong form, wrong timing, or worst of all, wrong combination. A 2023 CDC report showed that nearly half of Americans over 60 are overdosing on at least one nutrient, often without realizing it. Too much B6, too much iron, too little magnesium. Not enough K2. These imbalances don't scream, they whisper. In the morning, stiffness in your knees, in the tingling in your feet, in the moments you forget a name, a step, a sentence. You think you're aging, but you're actually slipping into a slow, silent depletion. Multivitamins sound comforting, don't they? One pill, all covered. But most give you too little of what you need most, like B12, often in forms your body barely absorbs, and too much of what could harm you, like synthetic B6 or unnecessary iron. A 2024 Lancet study tracked seniors on daily multivitamins and found no clear benefit because the nutrients weren't bioavailable and the doses were mismatched to the aging body's needs. Imagine pouring fuel into a car that leaks from the tank and chokes on the engine. It doesn't run better. It sputters. That's what's happening to millions of older adults who rely blindly on bottles. No alarms go off. Just a slow drain. You start feeling a bit weaker on stairs, a bit foggier in the afternoon. You write it off. But what if that slow decline isn't age? What if it's avoidable? What if it's the result of small, silent mistakes in your vitamin routine? In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the most common traps I see in my patients and how two real stories, one of Fred and one of Sarah, reveal not just problems, but powerful lessons that could help you reverse course, reclaim energy, and feel like yourself again. Let me introduce you to Fred. He's 68, a retired mechanic from Texas, the kind of man who sharpens his tools every spring and still wears the same watch he bought 30 years ago. He eats well, walks daily, and never smokes. And every morning, like clockwork, he takes a multivitamin with his breakfast, along with an extra pill of B6, 100 milligrams, because someone once told him it was good for nerve health. For a while, Fred felt fine. But 6 months ago, he noticed something odd: a tingling in his feet, then a creeping numbness. His balance began to shift. Walking across the yard to water his tomatoes started to feel like crossing gravel barefoot. He told himself it was age, but something inside whispered otherwise. A routine blood test revealed the truth. His vitamin B6 levels were nearly 10 times above the safe threshold. The extra B6 wasn't helping, it was poisoning his nerves. This isn't rare. In fact, A 2017 study in neurological sciences found that long-term high-dose B6 supplementation, especially above 100 milligrams, can cause peripheral neuropathy in older adults. And Fred? His multivitamin already had 50 milligrams. That extra pill tipped him into toxicity. His nerves weren't aging, they were overstimulated. His doctor stopped the B6 immediately, switched him to methylcobalamin, a bioavailable form of B12 at 500 megaths, and advised magnesium-rich foods, spinach, almonds, pumpkin seeds. Within 3 months, Fred's feet began to wake up. The tingling faded, the numbness loosened. He's back in his garden now, barefoot in the morning grass, telling his friends, "I thought more was better. Turns out it was burning me from the inside." And then there's Sarah. 60, gentle, precise. A retired librarian from California who reads ingredient labels like poetry. She took care of herself, always did. When a bone scan showed signs of early osteoporosis, her doctor suggested vitamin D3 5000 IU daily. She followed through faithfully. Yet instead of strength, she developed joint pain, stiffness in the mornings, and a strange heaviness in her chest. At her checkup, the lab results surprised everyone: elevated calcium levels and early vascular calcification. Her bones weren't getting stronger. Her arteries were hardening. Why? Because Sarah, like millions, was missing one silent piece: vitamin K2. Vitamin D3 increases calcium absorption, but without K2 to guide it, that calcium can settle in the wrong places: arteries, joints, kidneys. A 2021 report from Harvard Health warns that D3 without K, the 2nd of May, raised the risk of arterial calcification by as much as 20%. Sarah was also low in magnesium, a mineral needed to activate D3 in the first place. So even the vitamin she was taking wasn't fully working. Her doctor added 100 milligrams of vitamin K2 in the MK7 form and 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate, gentle on the stomach, highly absorbable. 6 weeks later, Sarah noticed something shift. Her mornings came easier, her joints softened, her heart didn't feel heavy anymore. She started hiking again, nothing wild, just a nearby trail she used to love but gave up when the stiffness made her hesitate. She posted online, "I didn't know my vitamin D was causing harm." K2 was the missing piece. Fred and Sarah are just two voices in a quiet choir of seniors who followed the rules, swallowed the pills, but still felt worse. And now, their stories open the door for us to ask better questions, to dig deeper than the label on a bottle, and to remember this: just because it's a vitamin doesn't mean it's safe. Just because you mean well doesn't mean it's working. And sometimes healing begins not with doing more, but with doing it right. Fred's numbness and Sarah's stiff joints weren't signs of age, they were signs of imbalance, born from good intentions gone unchecked. And they're not alone. Every month in my clinic, I meet someone making the same 4 mistakes. They think they're helping their body, but they're feeding the wrong fire. So let's slow down and unpack them, not with fear, but with clarity. Mistake 1, taking vitamin D3 without K2. You've heard D3 is essential. It helps absorb calcium, supports immunity, lifts mood. That part is true. But what most people miss is that D3 opens the floodgates for calcium to enter your bloodstream. And without K2, there's no traffic cop to guide it into your bones. Instead, that calcium can wander into your joints, your kidneys, or worse, your arteries. A 2023 study published in Arteriosclerosis, Thrombosis, and Vascular Biology found that older adults taking more than 5,000 IU of D3 daily without K2 had a 15 to 20% higher risk of arterial stiffness, a key risk factor for stroke. K2, especially in its MK7 form, activates proteins that shuttle calcium to the right places. It's not a bonus, it's a gatekeeper. Harvard Health called K2 the most overlooked nutrient in bone and heart health. I call it essential. Mistake 2, overdosing on vitamin B6. This one hits hard because it hides in plain sight. You'll find B6 in nearly every multivitamin, every energy booster, every nerve support supplement. And if you're over 60, your nerves are already more sensitive, more vulnerable. A 2017 study in Neurological Sciences found that just 1 year of high-dose B6 over 100 milligrams daily led to tingling and numbness in 1 in 5 seniors studied. Some supplements contain 50 milligrams in one pill. Add a multivitamin and you're well over. The irony? You were trying to help your nerves and ended up harming them. Your safe zone is 10 to 25 milligrams, ideally from food, bananas, tuna, chicken. Remember, in nutrition, more is rarely better. It's just more. Mistake 3. Taking iron when you don't need it. Iron is crucial if you're deficient. But after menopause, and especially in older men, the need for supplemental iron plummets. Yet many multivitamins still include it by default. Why is that dangerous? Excess iron doesn't leave the body easily. It builds up, rusting you from the inside. A 2022 paper from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that excess iron increases oxidative stress, harms gut lining, and reduces zinc absorption. Unless a blood test confirms anemia, skip the iron. Test your ferritin levels. Optimal is between 50 and 150 nml. This is especially important if you feel fatigued and assume it's due to low iron. Guessing wrong can cost you your gut, your energy, your resilience. Mistake 4. High-dose vitamin E. This one surprises people. Vitamin E is an antioxidant, right? Heart protective, right? Only in balance. Doses over 400 IU daily have been linked to increased risk of bleeding and impaired muscle recovery in older adults. A 2024 study in the Journal of Gerontology confirmed that more isn't better here. Natural sources like almonds or olive oil are far safer, gentler, and just as effective long-term. Don't chase high numbers, chase function. And here's the twist. Multivitamins meant to simplify health often amplify these risks. A 2023 CDC report found that 47% of American seniors have excessive levels of at least one nutrient, often B6, A, or iron from supplements. Why? Because most multivitamins are built for shelf life and marketing, not absorption or synergy. They underdose the hard-to-absorb nutrients like B12 or magnesium and overdose the cheap ones. Most offer B12 as cyanocobalamin, which is poorly absorbed, especially if you have low stomach acid. Methylcobalamin, its natural form, absorbs 30% better. And B12 isn't just for energy, it's critical for your brain. A 2024 study in Nutrients found that low B12 levels were associated with a 25% increased risk of cognitive decline in older adults. Magnesium, too, is underestimated. It helps regulate neurotransmitters and supports deep, restorative sleep. Glycinate or citrate forms are far more effective than the common, poorly absorbed oxide. And there's another layer, fat. Soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K need dietary fat to be absorbed, but most people take their pills with water on an empty stomach. That means you're not just getting the wrong forms, you're flushing away their potential. A 2024 study in Nutrients found that pairing fat-soluble vitamins with a meal rich in healthy fats, like eggs or avocado, can increase absorption by up to 50%. Small change, big difference. These are the hidden landmines buried in our good intentions, the quiet dangers of trusting the label more than our own biology. But once you know where they are, you can step around them. Or better, step toward a wiser, more precise approach to nourishing your body. So where do we go from here? If Fred's story made you pause, if Sarah's pain feels familiar, then maybe it's time to stop chasing more and start choosing better. The truth is, most of us don't need a shelf full of pills. We need clarity. We need alignment between what we take and what our body actually needs. That starts not with action, but with awareness. Picture this. You open your supplement cabinet and take a real look, not at the colorful label on the front, but at the quiet details on the back. Do you see over 100 milligrams of vitamin B6? Is vitamin D3 sitting there alone with no trace of K2? Is there ironavin, though no doctor has told you that you need it? These aren't small mistakes. They're quiet saboteurs. They stack, quietly, every morning. And over time, they cost you strength, clarity, peace. Now imagine something simpler. Just 3 nutrients. A solid dose of D3, say 5,000 IU, but with it, a guiding hand in the form of vitamin K2, MK7 form, 100 to 200 micrograms. Add magnesium, not the cheap kind, but glycinate, 300 to 400 milligrams, the kind that calms, nourishes, and actually gets absorbed. And none of this on an empty stomach. You give it context. You take it with fat because science shows that fat-soluble vitamins need fat to work. Not toast and coffee, but salmon with avocado, a soft egg with olive oil. A meal that says, I care. That's not a supplement. That's a partnership between you and your biology. Want a simple place to start? Try this. A salad of grilled salmon, arugula, baby spinach, and avocado. Add a boiled egg, a handful of walnuts, and drizzle it all with olive oil and lemon. That one plate gives you vitamin D, K2, B6, magnesium, and healthy fats-real nourishment all in one meal. But the real shift doesn't happen in a bottle, it happens in your kitchen. You replace a capsule with a food reel, recognizable, healing, salmon, not just for protein, but for D3, spinach, not just for iron, but for magnesium, aged cheddar or pasture-raised eggs for K2, a banana, simple and sweet, delivering B6 gently into your system. A drizzle of olive oil, carrying vitamin E like a letter finally delivered to the right address. None of this is exotic. None of it requires a prescription, only intention. And still, even food needs guidance. Your body isn't a guessing game. That fatigue, that brain fog, those leg cramps, they're not mysteries. They're signals. You need to check your dashboard before you fly the plane. So yes, ask for the tests. Not just the usual labs, but the ones that tell you the truth beneath the surface. Serum B12, 25, hydroxy D3, ferritin, RBC magnesium. Not just what's in range, but what's optimal. Because that's where energy lives, not in being normal, but in being nourished. Most of these tests cost between $50 and $150 and are often covered by Medicare. Ask your doctor or visit questdiagnostics.com to explore options. When supplementation is needed, choose brands known for transparency like Thorne or Pure Encapsulations. Your body deserves the best. I remember Eleanor, 67. She emailed me last winter, cramps, memory lapses, always tired despite her multivitamin. Her labs told the real story. B12 at 210, magnesium barely 1.6, D3 not even hitting 30, all labeled acceptable. But she wasn't. We made the changes, different forms. Real food, a bit more sunlight. 6 weeks later, she sent me a photo of herself walking in the park, laughing. The caption read, "First time I felt like myself in years." That's all this is. Not a miracle, not a fix-all, just a return to yourself. You don't have to change everything overnight. Maybe today you swap one pill, or cook one better meal. Or call your doctor and ask for one more test. That's enough. Because if you wait for your body to scream, it might be too late. But start now, and you might just hear your strength hum back to life, steady and sure. So maybe now you see it too. This isn't just about vitamins. It's about the subtle decisions we make each day, believing they'll help, yet wondering why we still feel tired, achy, or somehow not ourselves. But Fred found his footing again. Sarah reclaimed her strength, and Eleanor, she rediscovered joy in a simple walk under morning light, not because she added more pills, but because she understood what her body was truly asking for. Growing older doesn't mean fading away. It means becoming fluent in the language of the body, the nudges, the signals, the signs we used to dismiss. And when we listen with care, when we respond with wisdom, not fear, we open the door to strength we thought we'd lost. So tonight, before you reach for your vitamin bottle, pause. Ask yourself, not, what am I taking, but why am I taking this? When you make your next meal, choose one thing that truly nourishes, be it a handful of almonds or a plate of greens dressed with olive oil. And if fatigue, cramps, or fog have lingered too long, maybe it's time to test, to know, to begin again, this time with clarity. Need a place to start? Try a plate of grilled salmon, avocado, spinach, and arugula, topped with a boiled egg and a drizzle of olive oil. In one meal, you've got vitamin D, magnesium, B6, K2, and healthy fats, real fuel for a body that wants to feel whole again. You don't need a shelf full of bottles, you need clarity. You don't need to fix everything tonight, you just need to begin. Because the body always speaks, first in whispers, then in warning. But when we truly listen, healing begins. Like Fred limping less each morning, or Eleanor laughing in the park, their stories aren't rare. They're reminders of what's possible when we stop guessing and start truly caring. Don't let subtle traps in your supplement routine steal your vitality. Check your bottle, try one nutrient-rich food, and test your levels. Many key nutrient tests, like B12, vitamin D, ferritin, and magnesium, cost $50 to $150 and are often covered by Medicare. Trustworthy labs like Quest Diagnostics or brands like Thorne and Pure Encapsulations make targeted supplementation easier and safer. If this story resonated, I'd love to know, what supplements do you take and how do they make you feel? Share your experience in the comments. You might just help someone else take their first step. And in our next longevity tale, we'll gently explore a question many seniors quietly carry. Why do my legs cramp? Why do my knees ache? Why does my mind sometimes feel cloudy, like a fog that won't lift? These aren't just symptoms, they're messages, subtle cries for balance and care. We'll listen together and begin to understand what your body might be trying to say. Until then, stay gentle with yourself. Stronger days are not behind you. They're still waiting, just around the corner.